Cool. So I'm going to speak about the Stanley Park and the surrounding area. So Stanley Park is a huge national park, provincial park in Vancouver. It's actually bigger than Central Park in the U.S. Have you heard of Central Park?
Yeah.
In New York, it's bigger. So, yeah, woo, right? Yeah, exactly. So Stanley Park is an awesome place to go. There's an aquarium in there, so there's like fish. They have totem poles, and it's a good area just to hike around, walk around as well. I think it's about 7 kilometers long. It's very long. To walk it, it takes about 2.5 to 3 hours to walk the whole thing. To bike, it depends on how fast you bike. You can bike it in about an hour and a half. So it's a very fun thing to do on a nice day like today. Even when it's raining, it's fun. But a lot of cool things you see when you walk around it, and you'll be really close to the water. So Stanley Park is awesome. You guys should definitely check that out. You can't see them because they're behind the buildings, but we have 3 big mountains in Vancouver. Do you guys like to go skiing?
Yeah.
Snowboarding? All right. So the mountains are called Cypress, Grouse, and Seymour. Grouse Mountain, remember that one, okay? That's the biggest one. That's where everyone goes to ski and snowboard, in that one. And then the other 2 mountains, which are right beside it, they're like the smaller mountains that are not as popular as Grouse. Because Grouse has a gondola that takes you up, and it has like all these ski and snowboard runways and stuff. So definitely, like, you guys can always check that out too if you want to go skiing and snowboarding. It's a pretty reasonable price as well, and I think they have student prices as well for you guys. So I'm not a student anymore, so I don't know, but I believe that they do have student prices, so it's really fun to do. What else can I say about Stanley Park? Do you know anything else interesting about?
Okay, guys, so this people who were native to this land for thousands and thousands of years. So actually, the location of the Stanley Park is a very strategical place. So everything that's south from the Stanley Park is land for the Musqueam Nation. Everything that is north from the Stanley Park is the part of the Squamish Nation. So there's 2 nations that were in peace to each other, sometimes worse. Okay, so but the Stanley Park was actually the traditional and very sacred place for people who were native to this land. And when the European settlers came around 150 years ago, Stanley Park was actually initially planned as the park for recreation and for leisure, because there was like a various of villages of the First Nations people who are like populating this area, and they were like asking them why you live in this area, because this area is a very sacred area. So also this island right here, as you can see, it's kind of like island right between us and the Stanley Park. It's called the Dead Man Island because it was a native burial land for 8,000 years. So people actually used to bury their relatives there for 8,000 years, the First Nations people. So both nations, Musqueam and Squamish, were bringing their relatives and doing this special ceremony. They were like putting the corpses into the boxes made out of the red cedar.
They put them on the tree, like up in the tree as well. Wow. So when people came, they found these boxes in the tree, and they're like, oh, what are these boxes? And then when they took them down, they found bones and skeletons in there. So it's pretty creepy, right? But also as well, when there was a disease outbreak in Vancouver, I can't remember what disease it was. They had a building there where they put all the people in there so that they wouldn't spread all along the lower mainland. This was like a long time ago. It was like in the 1800s, late 1800s. So yeah, that's kind of an interesting thing as well. It was the disease outbreak. They put all the people there to kind of the rehabilitation center to help them get better. So that's another kind of creepy story about that island as well. So now it's used actually as a naval base.
Yes.
So,
Yeah.
Where is it? Which one is that?
So there's that island right there with like the white building.
Where the white building is.
Okay.
Yeah.
So during the Second World War, there was like a U.S. military base. So
Yeah.
right now, this base is owned by Canadian military, Navy forces, and there's nothing really scary about this right now.
No.
But actually, a few hundred years ago, it was a very interesting place to see. Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So let's move towards Canada Place right now, guys. So we made just like a little.
First, they have a Christmas market they hold here. So it's like an outdoor night market. I don't know if you guys have ever been to those, but it's all fenced off and has all little buildings and shops. It's a German themed one, so you can get like schnitzel and like old German themed goodies and stuff. So you guys should definitely check that out if you're still here in December. It's really fun. Wow. The food is delicious, and it's a really cool environment. They're doing Christmas music, and I think Santa Claus even comes too. So woo, right, Santa, yeah. So yeah, you guys should definitely check that out. It's very beautiful.
Really beautiful dating spot.
Yeah, too. If you have like, you want to date someone, bring them there. So yeah. Cool.
Yeah, we have each other.
So the two interesting things about, first of all, I'll start in this place. So this place here was built at least, I think, 5 to 6 years ago. So it's fairly new. It's very eco-friendly. They actually have beehives on top of the roof, and they use the honey in the food that they make. And these convention centers are actually connected through underground. Now the reason for that, because Vancouver rains like basically 360 days a year. It's all rain in Vancouver. There's like never sun. That's a joke. There is sun, but it rains a lot. So instead of walking outside and getting soaked, you can go underground into the other convention center, because sometimes they hold the same event or 2 different events in the different convention centers, right? So it's more convenient for people, but it's also a very strategic location, because as you can see around us, there's at least 3 hotels I can spot. That right there is a hotel, that right there is a hotel, and right behind us is a hotel. So those are 3 major hotels in Vancouver. You got both Fairmont hotels, and that one's the Pan Pacific Hotel. So the reason they're so close to the convention center is because when people are here for conventions, they don't want to go far. They can literally go right next door, right? Very convenient. As you see behind me, there is a cruise ship. So Canada Place is also a cruise ship terminal. You can fit about 3 cruise ships per time in the terminals. And these cruise ships they go to Alaska, they go down through the Panama Canal, they go to Central America, so they go all over the place. So it's really, really cool. Vancouver is like a big cruise ship terminal. Now, the thing that is hard for Vancouver when it comes to cruise ships is that cruise ships that come from like Mexico or come from America, they have to go to Canada to go to America, right? So you have to go through customs. So people have to get off, show everything, go through customs, and then get back on and go to Alaska, right? Yeah. Which a lot of Americans don't like. So Seattle, they are creating a cruise ship terminal to be better than ours, which will never be better than Canada. But they're building a cruise ship terminal so that they don't have to stop in Vancouver. They can go from the US to the US. It'll be more convenient for them, right? But this will always be popular because Vancouver is such a beautiful city, right? There's also a really unique ride in Canada Place. It is called Fly Over Canada. So it is a 4D ride. Do you guys know what 4D is? Yep. So 4D is where you can feel and see and smell different things. Like it interacts. It's like it's real life, right? So you sit on this really cool bench and you go up on the screens like you're flying, and you go all across Canada to different locations. It's really cool. If you guys ever have a chance to go on that, you should. We do sell the tickets as well, our company, so it's actually cheaper than what you would get it at the door. So I would recommend you guys try that out. If you want to know more about Canada, see more of Canada's beauty, it's actual images. People actually film it in helicopters, so you see what they see. It's very beautiful, trust me. I have been on it like 7 times, and I'm from Canada, and I love it. So. And then during cool festivals, the sails, you can't really see them because the cruise ship is blocking them, but they actually light up different colors. And there's 13 sails on Canada Place, and they represent the province and the territories. So Canada has different provinces and territories, so each sail represents each province and each territory. So yeah.
Cool, awesome. Also guys, right here, so Vancouver Visitor Center for Tourism Vancouver. If you will ever be in downtown area and have nothing to do, or you're like a little bit lost and you have any questions about Vancouver attractions, go inside of this place. There's plenty of people, plenty of volunteers who are very happy to help you out, to direct you on any attraction. There are also lots of information considering tourism here in Vancouver, as well as North Pacific areas there. So a little bit about the logo. Do you see like the blue, like a circle with like 2 triangles on the top? This is actually like a sigil of the First Nations people who are like a native to this land. So as you can see, Vancouver people in Vancouver are using this type of the symbolics in order to describe Vancouver as the First Nations like a place, like really First Nations friendly place. So actually this is the war sigil right there. It was like on the paddles of the people who were used to go to war on the First Nations boat. So, and it was like 2 symbols. The first one is the eye. If you put it right here, you came in with a peace. If you put it upstairs, you came here for the peace as well. If you are turning out this eye somewhere, this eye represents the like a hospitality. It's a sign of hospitality. It can be represented as a sign of hospitality or the sign of war. So it depends on how you rotate this eye.
Wow.
So on a paddle. It's on the shoulder, vertical or horizontal, 2 different meanings. So pretty awesome thing to know. Also guys, during our walking tour, keep your eyes open. Vancouver, it's a very popular spot for filming movies. Is anyone saw Robocop, the new one, 2011? Do you remember that place right here? It's the convention center. In the final scene, Robocop were like ramming into the center, fighting. Plenty of different places where like different movies were filmed.
Deadpool,
one of the most popular ones.
I saw Ryan Reynolds. Yeah, he's from, but I saw him film it too. I was like, hey, no, wait. He didn't notice me, unfortunately.
So also, while you're walking down downtown area, keep your eyes open because you can see actually many different celebrities. Like one of the few months ago, there was like a Dwayne Johnson, The Rock, right? So he was filming in the movie Skyscraper. So they were like shooting some of the shots here. Some of our employees actually in the movie, they were like the people who were scared in the crowd. So you actually can be filmed in the movie here.
He's a celebrity as well, so keep an eye out for him. Mission Impossible. Have you guys heard of that with Tom Cruise? That was also filmed. It was the Ghost Protocol near the end when he's running. The convention center. You can see it in the background. It was the thing with Vancouver. Actually, I add this too. The funny thing in movies, Vancouver is never called Vancouver. It's called Seattle, or it's called San Francisco, or it's India, or it's New York, or it's China, China, but it's never Vancouver. So that's the one thing that us Vancouverites we're very sad about, is that in movies they're never called Vancouver. It's different places. But that's the unique thing and the unique look about Vancouver. It can play anything. Right? Wow. So that's really cool information too, you guys. Yeah.
Cool, awesome. Okay, guys. So let's continue towards the waterfront. Please tell them, if you ever get lost in downtown, first, you're a very unlucky person because this is really hard to get lost in downtown, okay? Second, look for Lookout Tower, Vancouver Lookout Tower, or City Center Clock. Wow. So this is 2 orienters that actually are describing the SkyTrain Station. So City Center is the Granville SkyTrain Station, or City Center on Canada Line. Yeah. Here we have a waterfront, our terminus station. So originally it was constructed in 1914, so quite a long time ago, as the terminus station for for Canadian Pacific Railway. So from this place, you could go to Toronto for a couple of weeks, of course. You could go to Montreal, but not anymore. So around the 1970s, this station were reimagined, reconstructed into something new. So by that time, all of the destinations for Canadian Pacific Railway were taking over to Falls Creek area, the Main Street terminus. So the waterfront was like a little bit empty for like a decade. So it was just a building with no significant purpose. Only the C bus and a few other trains were actually departing from the waterfront terminus station. So, but in 1986 we had the Vancouver Expo. It's a really large event, and we had our first SkyTrain by that time. So right now it's your SkyTrain station. It's the heart of the public transportation system in Vancouver. Vancouver, it's kind of like a small town. Technically we have only 2 lines that are leaving downtown area. Both of them you can take at the waterfront SkyTrain station, same as C-Bus, same as our part-time like train. You can take a train to the Port Moody, but unfortunately not to Montreal. But it's a cool fun fact that you could take like a train from here that go to Montreal, right? Just 4 years ago. It's super cool, right? Okay guys, so also there's one more thing that I wanted to point out for you. This team works right here. Everyone here is 19 years and older. Okay, Vancouver is actually one of the North American cities that is actually very good on the craft beer. If you really guys like beers, Steamworks right here, the brewery. It's like a very historical building that brewing beer for like quite a time right now. And underneath they have like a whole facility for brewing beers. It's pretty cool. Okay guys, so let's move towards the Gastown area because the Gastown is right there. Yeah.
Vancouver started out in 1886, so this is where this was Vancouver, Gastown. The only difference was before in Gastown there used to be wooden buildings. Everything was made by wood, but there was a huge fire and then all the wood was burnt down, so they remade everything with brick. Now at the same time, nowadays buildings are not made with brick, not made with wood, they're made with steel, right, or concrete. So Vancouver has a law, or the province of British Columbia has a law, where you cannot tear down any of these buildings because this is a historical area of Canada, but also of the Lower Mainland. So if you're wanting to build buildings or expand Gastown, you can only build from the top of the building up. So when we're walking through Gastown, you'll see some buildings that are brick, and then you'll see steel on top. It looks kind of weird and kind of cool, but the reason for that is because people wanting to expand. So if you go inside of these buildings, it's really cool because it has a historical look to it. Everything to the plumbing and everything is like all like retro, right? A lot of these buildings are not renovated, which means that people have not done work in the inside. It's all the original stuff, right? So they made, I think in the early 1900s is when they used the brick to rebuild Gastown. Gastown is named Gastown from Gassy Jack, but we'll talk to you guys more about that because there's a statue of him later on down in Gastown.
Nothing to do with the gas.
That's right. No, yeah. So this is not a place where you fill up your car or, you know, like there's anything to do with gas. No. It's just called, they call them Gassy Jack, but we'll tell you why when we get to the statues. Good question.
Yeah.
Cool. Awesome. So guys, so in other words, Gastown is the area that will never change. In the next 100 years, if you're going to come back, there are going to be flying cars. This street right here is the federal protected area, so you cannot change anything here pretty much. It's a quite historical area of Vancouver. Also, this is one of the areas of Vancouver that are still remaining protected and is not changed, even though some other old town areas are changed drastically over the time. Also, Gastown originally was the trade point among the different European Canadians who were settling down the area, trade point among with the First Nations people as well. So it's a really nice trade point here. right now, even though Gastown is a great area for buying some souvenirs. So if you're flying back home and you need that sweet maple syrup for your grandma, you can buy it here in Gastown. Also, there's a place called Hudson House. We're gonna pass it right now. It's one of the best stores here in Canada for good quality souvenirs for your friends and family. So if you're ever wondering, I want to go shopping, go to Gastown area. There's plenty of different souvenirs.